Hey guys, it's Matt. Starting with chapter 44 of the still unnamed reality book, we will move through the questions a bit more quickly. We'll do at least 3 here, if not 4 or 5. And then I think there'll be maybe 1 or 2 more videos of questions and answers where we'll do another 2 or 3, and then the final half page. What do we do after that, Matt? I have no idea. Well, there's a lot. This not milk, though, it can be counted on to give us a lot to look at and analyze. Like, did you notice the magenta presentation during the Super Bowl? I know a lot of you did. It is off the charts. We need to take a look at that as well as a lot of other things. Chapter 44. Question 1. What does spiritual mean? What does spirituality mean? The asshole dark, the reality intruder from the outer ring, overly complicates and confuses topics that it wants real people to stay away from. Said another way, if the topic is important, the Not Milk presents no simple answer or anything that's real. When it's fake, then sometimes it presents a simple answer. For example, we all know it was a man in a cave with a stalactite cell phone that coordinated sleeper cells. And it's not just the Not Milk we have to contend with here. There are tens of thousands of people trying to help. They actually have good intentions. The granola crunchers, the tree huggers, people that think they're going to ascend into a 4D and 5D environment before the end of their life. Talking about weird things we don't understand, like shadow work, whatever that is, and spirituality. But as usual, falling into Not Milk trap, making it too complicated. As usual, the rule of opposites applies. If it seems to be a complicated topic that's outside of our reach, it's simple as all heck. Rule of opposites likely never been broken. Spirituality, or being spiritual, simply means that one realizes that the whole of them is not confined to this place. Or, said in a different way, for some that prefer the secondary definition, that the whole of you extends beyond the physical. Of course, it's that simple. Why is it made so complicated? That's spiritualism. That's being spiritual. That's it. It's a realization and knowing that this isn't all I am. That's it. Look in the mirror. Do you believe what you see in the mirror is all that you are across all of existence? A spiritual person knows they're much more than the limited thing that scratches its privates and picks its nose. If one is more than what sees in the mirror, more than a body and an ego mind, then that is a spiritual understanding. It's that simple. It has nothing to do with religion or complicated topics like shadow work, whatever the heck that is. If what you see in the mirror is not entirely or the entirety of you, then it's likely the other part is etheric, existed before birth, will exist after death. It may be timeless. It may have always existed. The need to assign a beginning and an end is something our limited mind must do in this place. The concept of timelessness may make perfect sense out of here. If one is spiritual, it has nothing to do with any Joel Ovaltine $50 balcony tickets. Being spiritual means you see this place as a small part of a greater journey that benefits not just what you call you, but the whole of you. The Not Milk, of course, is the general name I assign to the adversary of real people, the thing that's here to try to trip you up. Its tactics here are very straightforward. Number 1, to hide that aspect from you, to hide the spiritual aspect from real people, mostly by pretending it doesn't even exist. Number 2, to confuse the crap out of anybody who starts sniffing around for answers in this area. The Not Milk knows that real people will long for answers, and they'll try to find them during their lifetime. And like Agent Smith in The Matrix, the Not Milk is onto them. Says, oh, you looking for answer? I got answer. Here's your big-ass billion-dollar infrastructure religions. Don't get upset, Christians. It's one thing to have a relationship with your God on your own. It's another thing, in my opinion, to have to work through a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure. If the government and the Not Milk doesn't love the gigantic infrastructure, why does it give the tax breaks and the 501c3 and all that other stuff? But that's another video. It says, you sniffing around for spiritual answer? You got it. Here you go. Here's my gigantic $20 billion infrastructure across all the main religions that maintain a gigantic infrastructure. Anybody think that's outside the Not Milk? Really? So in summary, I'm trying to make simple the tens of millions of pages that have been written on this topic across the last 500 years. Let's just narrow it down to spirituality. Spiritual means you know you're more than this place. That's it. Throw the rest of the damn verbiage out. Next question, a very short one and a very fun one. What is North Korea? North Korea is a puppet regime of the OWS. The OWS. That is no threat to anyone who is not a mortal enemy of Dennis Rodman. The entire country should transition to a new role in the world, offering Korean dumplings delivered in Vietnam-era MiG-27s via attractive yellow and red parachutes. You see, it's quite simple. For military-industrial complexes to spend trillions of dollars across the United States, China, and the EU, the world needs a chubby little bad guy who can't even quite button his belt to threaten the world every 10 years. How else are you going to keep spending those trillions? And then when he's not playing his role, he can then take on the role of dear leader, get on TV and say, Miami Vice, #1 new show, Pyongyang, check it out. And by the way, big parade down Central Pyongyang Square next week. Oh, military parade? No, Dennis Rodman coming in. That concludes our presentation of what is North Korea. Question number 3 of chapter 44. How many, quote, real people like you and me are here on Earth? Well, we'll never know, but who cares? You know who you are. I know who I am. I'm tired of hearing about the 144,000. The real people here in this place called Earth may be 144, maybe 14.4, maybe 144,000, maybe a few billion. To me, the 144,000 number is just a way of expressing that the amount of, quote, real people here is likely smaller than the world population number. Now, what does that mean, real people? It means people that are not bound to this place, confined to this place, people like we talked about, what is spirituality, what is spiritualism, that are more than this place, or some think have an aspect that is not here, have a way out, see this as a train stop. That's a real person, not created and bound of this place. In a very simple sense, this means that everyone called, say, people here are not the same. Maybe not the same entity, not the same spiritually. Now, there's a famous document that says, as you know it, all men are created equal. And by the way, are liberal forces right now working to have that changed? You understand the problem that the liberal forces probably have? All men are are they going to force it? Guys, it seems like a joke, but you know what? They could force a change to it. You know that this reality is just dying to do something like that, but that's for another video. It says, though, all men are created equal. In terms of what we're talking about here, we'd say, really? Could that be the original deception? Maybe entities here are quite different. Just take a look at Melvin the next time you see him on TV. Every single cell in your body will cry out to you in unison that that thing is not the same as you are. It may be possible that people here are what some call the NPC, because huge populations could be. We don't know. Because all bodies need a soul, though. All bodies need something to animate the flesh. If that's the case and the NPC exists, then that would be animated, say, locally. The body wouldn't be animated in the same way, say, that yours is, or that mine is. If this type of person exists, then they're not the same as you are, just as we know Melvin's not the same as we are. If you're reading this or listening to the words coming out of my mouth, there's an excellent chance that you're the highest incarnation that exists here, no doubt about it. Yes, you are far superior to the Melvin and Bezos and his ilk who play their little roles here. As usual, it becomes the greatest news of all time, because it essentially means that you have the best connection or spiritual road out of here. An NPC may not have a way across the moat like a real person does. Deep down, I feel we should abandon the derogatory term NPC, which in a way is arrogant, which in a way is looking down on somebody. If it exists, it's no fault of their own, right? Perhaps the story of Pinocchio is a stuffed Lenin or Humpty Dumpty of sorts. In the story, the Pinocchio, that Peckerwood boy, became real boy, right? He was wood, became real boy. Maybe what we call the NPC can also become, real boy Pinocchio, if we treat them as such. Matt, what you're doing right now is derogatory. I know. We got to get out of it. They're not. I call Pinocchio Peckerwood boy. That's what Don Johnson called Jerry, who works with the glass. I'm not calling them that. We are going to be much more respectful to the entities here that are not the same as we are. Just because somebody like Jared Kushner is doomed to the physical existence doesn't mean we should take any pleasure in it or make jokes. No, we need to stop this. We need to have a whole new empathy or sympathy, whatever you want to call it. It wouldn't be empathy because we're not like them. It would be a sympathy, a symphony of sympathies for Jared Kushner. Just because he's doomed to the physical existence, don't mean we should make jokes. Send flowers now. Does he own? Where can we find him? Was he on? First off, is he on the planet? Second, didn't they remember the Kushner companies? Did they own the 666 Fifth Avenue? They still own 666. They changed the number. Well, I bet the mail still's delivered there. Call 1-800-Flowers. Write a little note. Say, Jared, we apologize. We don't look down on people like you. Now, if you're off the planet, I'm not sure how they're going to get you the message. Sorry. Next question. What is an egregor? We know that in some way consciousness creates reality. The consciousness, perhaps, of these real people, how many of there are, creates reality. An egregor, also called a tulpa, or also called a thought form demon, that's a tip-off as to how friendly these things are, is an entity that is created by real people thinking, behaving, and acting in unison, or towards a common goal, or focusing their energy in a certain direction. Some have discussed that egregores can be created or conjured up in a way, I don't understand it, by individuals via individual magic. But I think if that's true, they likely thereafter need the energy of large groups, or at least a focused energy of more than one for that egregore to grow and influence. Again, I'm just delivering a collection or amalgamation of everything I've learned by a lot of smart people that know something about this. I don't deal in these creepy things. I go off to make the damn stove after this. I don't go off to try to raise egregores like hatchlings in the basement. I'm doing the best I can here. I mean, some of this could be wrong. I admit I'm no expert in this creepy area. It'll be short. Let's continue. Using the term egregor means there's an entity of some kind associated with things in this world. Things where real people have focused their energy at some point, focused their attention. And when they do that, it either aids in the thing's creation, or if the thing has already been created, aids in its growth and influence. We are its sunlight, if you will. It is not something that walks, talks, or uses the restroom, in my opinion. It's energy of some kind that may be influential and also be used to corral and harness the energy of a large group. So it can take what it wants, but then to pass it along in some way by the not milk. Is it a minor in some way for the not milk? There are tens of thousands of possibilities in this regard if these things exist. For example, the corporate entity of McDonald's or any other large company may have an unseen egregor entity attached to it or bound to it or working with it or for it in some way. A rock band like the Rolling Stones, of course, likely has one. There's 2 giveaways for that. Why do they keep parading these geriatrics over and over, the same stalled century, the same presentations over and over again? And 2, how are they able to do it? That's more of the giveaway. See, the egregor would, if it's taking in energy like a funnel, would give some of it back to make sure its little character, Mick Jagger, can actually run around up there. You got bad knee? You had bad knee, Mick. Well, I just fucking fixed it. Oh, the knee feels better. Thanks, egregor. Thank you, son. Thanks, egregor. No more bone-on-bone cartilage issues. That egregor potentially makes sure that skinny son of a beach can run around up on the stage. It might work both ways. It's parasitic but also symbiotic in the same way. Things you might not consider could have an egregor. The Department of Defense may have one. The Pentagon itself may have one. George H.W. Bush and W. Bush may have one. A wing of the Pentagon may have one. DARPA may have. Who knows? Who knows? But it's good to do affirmations, and real people are allowed to say, that doesn't work on us. And, anything in this existence trying to take my energy, you can't have it. And I want back reparations for anything you stole when I fell for your trick, you son of a beach. We know for sure that this reality is set up to extract energy from real people. It has been said that this existence, for most people, is a set of instructions from birth on learning how to give one's power away. An egregor would be a method of extraction. But is it just about loosh sucking? There seems to be evidence that these things influence the people who choose to closely associate with what the egregor represents, like just die-hard screaming fans at a Rolling Stones concert. How are they influenced? Is it just about getting their energy? I mean, who knows? One thing that's interesting to consider, and we'll ponder it now, is who works for whom? Who does Mick Jagger work for the unseen energy demon, the tulpa, or does the tulpa work for Mick Jagger? And as I talk this out, I think it's irrelevant either way, because both work for Don Corleone. But if you work for not Nilk, is one really work for the other? You better overall work together, you sons of bitches. You better work together to serve not Nilk, or it's going to kick your ass. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter who serves what. In the end, they both serve, as usual, not Nilk. Even in people that are completely unfamiliar with this concept, and again, I'm no expert at it, but even people that are just coming into truth, they can see that it's so unnatural. We keep using the Rolling Stones, but that's the best example. Keith Richards should have been dead in 1945 or something like that. They can see and sense that it's unnatural. The energy of this 80-year-old they keep bringing them back over and over. He never gets a knee injury. He never hobbles. He runs and he just hops around up there. Like, where is he getting his energy? People new to this whole truth research, they sense that there is some sort of energy extraction going on. They very quickly understand that this concept of tulpa, thought form demon, or egregor must exist, or its presentation wouldn't be the way it's making its presentation. Now, if that's the case, we all kind of sense it. So, okay, something like that, we don't understand it, okay, but something like this exists. Now, if the Rolling Stones egregor is at this point pretty large and pretty powerful and pretty influential, and how many of them exist all working for not Nilk, think how big and influential not Nilk must be. It's like a gigantic magenta glow in the middle of a stadium somewhere with all the egregors reporting in for duty. I mean, that's the adversary we're up against. Nothing to worry about. We have total control because it has to operate behind a trick. If it was in control and was more powerful in the pecking order, then it wouldn't need to operate behind a trick. You see how simple this is? It's not highest up on the org chart. You are, because it has to operate behind a trick. If it was higher up, it wouldn't need the trick. It's very simple. It brings me back to Bane. I'm going to do it again. Yeah, Bane in the damn Batman movie. Do you feel in charge? He didn't have to operate behind a trick. He just put his hand on the guy's neck. He said, "Do you feel in charge? I've got my hand right here on your neck. I don't need to trick you into anything. I'm in charge." It's operating behind a trick. It's so simple. This concept of egregors kind of helps explain why this reality, the dark part of it, is so intent on creating as many camps as possible for people. A small camp focuses energy, doesn't it? The movie Branded, 2012, demonstrates, I think, the best example of what an egregor may be, and it's easy to understand how the movie makes its presentation. I don't imagine these things are like real demons, whereas they're portrayed in movies like Hellraiser. I don't think it's something that could walk past you and talk back. "Hey, what'd you say to me, egregor? What'd you talk about, Willis?" I don't think it can act like that. We don't know exactly what it is, but we all sense this in some way exists to draw forth the energy of real people. Matt, do you think it's sentient or in the way we understand consciousness? No. And I don't think anybody that would consider themselves, not many people would consider themselves an expert in this area, but those that know a little something, I don't think would say it's not sentient or possessing consciousness the way you know it. I don't think so. Okay, we'll leave it at that. The egregor and, say, the corporation associated with it, or the rock band and its egregor, as we talked about, develop a symbiotic relationship, a symbiosis, in order to harness the energy and then use the energy they're given by real people to give back to make sure the performer is doing its Taylor Swift job. Oh boy, now what happens if the Taylor Swift egregor mates with the Travis Kelce egregor? Matt, then it just dissolves. They're left with nothing. It's like oil and water. They should stay away from each other. Matt, some would say that the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce egregor initiated the relationship. They're the ones that have the tulpas have the relationship. It's just that the humans in the meat suit have to follow suit. Maybe. I don't know. We recently talked about the basketball player LeBron James and his pregame ritual of throwing talcum power up into the air right before the game starts. We joked that this could be to wake up his egregor. "Hey, egregor, wake up. I need 30 points tonight." Well, we joked, but you know what? It's probably not a joke. The existence of egregors likely explains why the Rolling Stones can never stop touring, even with Mick at 850 years old. All these creepy things, the creepy component parts, all need each other. The not milk may use its many egregors to gather up energy then for itself. It's the last train stop. You got to take your cut. Remember in Gangs of New York, what are you going to pay the butcher? You got to, everybody that does a little transaction, little thievery, you got to pay the butcher. You got to take your cut to the butcher. You got to take your cut to the not milk. Mick Jagger does his thing. The tulpa does its thing. You better pay the butcher, Bill Cutting. That's the not milk. You don't think it gets its piece? Or you better think again. The egregor at the Rolling Stones concert then takes a cut, it's fed. Maybe it grows larger. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards benefit somehow. Of course, both should have been dead decades ago. They benefit in some way. If not that, their body should be poisoned from this or that or whatever. The STD should be just crawling up their neck. They benefit from how the tulpa protects them in some way. It's a creepy win-win-win for them. Unfortunately, though, in this reality, the game here is zero-sum. If you have winners, there must be a balance. There must be a loser. It's a creepy win-win-win for them. Who loses? Who loser? Real people are losers who freely hand over their energy and fall for the trick. Matt, if any of this is true, does that mean we have to make sure we avoid concerts and crowd situations where energy can be taken? This is the beauty of it. No, I don't think we need to avoid these situations. It's up to us to fall for the trick or to give away our power. Act like the powerful being that you are. Somebody says, we need to avoid a Rolling Stones concert. I don't believe so. I really don't. I could be wrong. I don't believe so. If anything, announce to the damn tulpa before you go in the stadium. You're going to try to take my energy. Guess what? Can't have a bit of it. You're not taking I'm going to enjoy, hey, Rolling Stones tulpa, just call up into the air. Have people like staring at you as they walk by. What the hell's wrong with that guy? Who's he talking to? Rolling Stones tulpa, I'm going to enjoy every bit of this concert. I'm going to clap, I'm going to cheer, but you're not taking my energy. Why? Because I say so. I'm not falling for the trick. I think real people can enjoy the concert. It's up to you. Act like the powerful being you are. Is a powerful being will just run from, oh my gosh, Rolling Stones coming to Philadelphia August 1st and 2nd. I don't know if they are. I'm just making it up. That means I need to get out of town. Get out of town, Matt. Go hide up in the Amish hay lofts. Where Harrison Ford hid out. Do the opposite. Just go in and see the concert and say, I'm not giving you any of my energy. If somebody's calling out to me, I can hear some people are saying, Matt, a real powerful being actually could turn the tables and harness energy itself. No, don't go there. We don't want to act like the damn tulpa. Do you want to act like the thought form demon? Don't go in and take any energy. Just make sure you don't give yours away. It's up to you. I'm not just saying that to make myself feel better. I absolutely believe that. If it didn't operate behind a trick, I wouldn't be so sure when I say things like that. That concludes this short presentation on egregores. And Mick Jagger, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, if you still can't get no satisfaction being older than Methuselah, you're looking for it in the wrong places. And oh, by the way, your new music sucks. Next question. Hey, Matt, now that I know how certain things in this reality work, is it my job to run around and try to wake people up and share it with them? Oh, hell no. Don't bother. Their life journey is not up to you. Well, you know what I'm saying? Worry about yourself. Even with perfect arguments and perfect presentations on PowerPoint, only those ready to wake up, those ready, for lack of a better term, graduate, will begin to see how things really work here. There are many reasons why your best friend can't see what you can see and will never be able to see what you can see. It's best to think of it like there's separate realities going on for each of you, and that has more truth than you know. There may be many things going on that we simply can't comprehend in this limited physical form, with the senses that provide only 1% of the information. 99% passes us by. No matter what the sense is, you only take in a small fraction of what's available. This is all by design. For example, your friend may be what we call, for lack of a better term, a young soul, meaning they have a lot more work to do. If they incarnated here for a reason, and all real beings and real spiritual beings do, then the work needs to be done if they came here for a reason, which they did. It's possible, as one explanation among many, that their higher self simply will not allow them to see through reality as we now see past the trick. It seems logical only those who are essentially done with this place, or could be done with it potentially, or for lack of better terms, it somehow triggers part of the truth community, graduate. Oh, they don't like that. Well, what term would you like me to use? Only those people will be allowed to see through the trick. Maybe that's exactly where we are now. The Not Milk seems so desperate, it has aided us in a way, hasn't it? Hey, thanks, Not Milk. Thank you, son. For what? For being such an asshole over the last 10 or 15 years. It made our job easy. Not easy to live this life and to get up and wake up in the morning, but to see through the trick. And that's more important, folks. Now, all of this implies that being fooled, at least for a while, is an essential part of this experience. Yes, being fooled, at least for a while, was necessary. There are several other possibilities other than, say, young soul that explain why your friends or family act the way they do or believe in the presidential race, for example. They could be, we don't like using it, but they could be different than you, a different entity, what we call an NPC, in some way bound to this place with a soul that's animated in some way locally, or not animated in the same way yours is. If that's the case, and these different classes of entities exist, they likely can never see what is going on, or can never see past what this system will allow them to see, is a one way of putting it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll never know. So it's the same rule every time. Never try to wake anyone up, ever, unless they aggressively initiate the interest themselves. This book is, in my reading of it, is not for the guy next to you on the bus or for your Aunt Ginny or to be presented at the Thanksgiving table. It's just for a tiny, tiny group of people that, for lack of better terms, the Triggers of Truth community are ready to graduate this place. It's for a small group in a lifeboat rowing away from the ship of fools on the river of insanity who, number one, see that they're much larger than this place. This place is not all they are. That's realization number one. And then it's kind of convincing the whole of them. This is the way I interpret it. I believe Tony's interpretation here did resonate with me. Convincing the whole of them that they've done enough here. They've seen enough. They've learned enough. They've done enough. So the idea is to the higher self, are you going to mock it again, Matt? Maybe. Get us the hell out of here. When you say us, there could be other, as Tony presented, potentially other incarnations going on at the same time. You know what I presented in that regard regarding what he told me. We, you and me, the tiny group in the lifeboat rowing away from the ship of fools will always appear quite crazy, quite nuts to those smack in the middle of the ship of fools. They'll stand on the railing, say, why would you want to leave this place? Isaac is running a special. They got pigs in blankets. They got little cocktail drinks with little umbrellas. The temperature of the pool is 82 degrees. It's a beautiful thing. Come back to this reality. Who would want to jump ship into those icy waters? They don't understand it at all. They have their gripes with government and how things work here from time to time, but it's all normal. And if this is the ship that they're comfortable with, who the heck would want to leave it? You and I want to leave it. That's insane to them. And from the standards of sanity, as it's set in this reality on its metrics, it rules here, not you and me. They're right. We are insane. Off the ship is not normal in this place. On the ship is. Real people have been through a series of frustrations over the last 15 years in dealing with the people around us. We have made mistakes. It's okay to make the mistakes. Nobody's made bigger mistakes than I have, and I've shared some of them with you. You remember when you told your best friend or showed Ribby Bobby Robbie, Bibby Robbie Bobby Bibby Bobby, and he said, look at this. And they said, oh, Matt, people sometimes are nervous before taking a podium, and it's a nervous smile. Okay, we learned our lesson. We will not ever engage in that way again. The entity or spiritual being truly ready to graduate, yelling at its higher self to get us out of here, we've done enough, seen enough, does not make those same mistakes again. Or the higher self looks down and says, you don't know jack shit. Another round for you. What part of Earth? The slums of Delhi. So don't be like me. Keep your friends, especially the ones that extend back through your youth. Talk to them about dumb stuff like the Grammys and cereal. You can watch the Super Bowl from time to time. It's not going to hurt you. Just make sure you do your little affirmation off in the closet. I'm going to do a little affirmation. Don't give my power away. Don't give my power away. Do a little ritual if you need to. Once you do it once, you never have to do it again, though, and you don't have to do it in the closet of the Super Bowl party you're attending. So watch. Don't lose your friends. Well, most of you are going, Matt, we've already all done that. So thanks for the advice, Matt. Thanks for the advice, dude, but you're about 14 years too late. Yeah, I agree. The average age here is a little bit older, but we do have some young people coming in. I assure you, we have some younger people in the 20s that pop in. Sometimes they go away for a while. The stickers and stayers here, the old guard it's strange. It's almost not strange. It's almost intentional. The age, without a doubt, is high 40s to about 65 or even a little bit older. It is an older, more mature group here. You might not be able to see through reality the way we see through the trick if you are in your 20s. And why should you? That I'm all for it. Go have fun. Enjoy your 20s. I didn't want to know what I know now in my 20s. I'm happy I was in the Matrix for a while. I don't want to be at 12 years old, start knowing what I know now. Parents come talk to me and like, what should I tell my children? I'm like, and I said, first off, I don't have kids, so I'm not the best person to give the advice, but my advice or my instinct is let them be kids for a while, for a long time. I mean, until at least they're, 18 to 20. My advice is, and not that I should be giving any advice. Last time, I have no children, but I've said to people, ask questions from time to time, but give no answers. Why do you think this works this way? Why is the outer part of the moon just as bright as the center? See this, let's shine this flashlight at this basketball. Never provide the answer is my advice. Never talk about the outer ring of reality or not milk or evil forces or this is cake and a lake or that is cake and a lake. No, just maybe when it's appropriate. Don't like drag them outside. Tonight we're going to look at the moon. If it comes up, little questions, never an answer. That's my 2 cents in this regard. This topic almost never comes up. I don't talk about it on this channel. That's the responsibility of a parent. But remember, the question we're on is, Matt, now that I know certain things about how this world and reality works, is it my job to talk to people or to try to wake people up? And that's the question we're dealing with here. And my answer is, if you forget everything presented here, just remember, worry about yourself. That is not selfish at all. That is what we came here to do. Society and culture cannot be changed. It probably never could be changed. It is Wayne's diagram. It is all around. It is all here for you. It's not to go put all the Anthony Wieners and Hillary Clintons to jail. That is one of the biggest tricks that the Not Milk brings to the very gullible truth community. Thanks for listening.